Well, oil companies all over the world face particular challenges with the macroeconomic environment, weak oil price and supply concerns. But I suppose for the Russian Rosneft, they have an additional problem as well, it's just lack of access to global capital markets. So how are they coping with that double whammy? We're joined now by the Senior Vice President and Head of M&A and Strategy for Rosneft, Krzysztof Zielicki. How do you cope with that? I mean, it appears on the face of it that you've got some serious challenges.
I mean, every oil company has serious challenges, and throughout their history. I mean, the current market is obviously one of low oil prices. This does affect us, there's no doubt about that. However, the low oil prices are not so drastic for us. Our lifting costs are the lowest in the industry. They are in fact, I don't think there's any other oil company which can actually achieve lifting costs. A lot of our fields are onshore, so at the end of the day, the actual amounts we can actually survive oil prices which are considerably less than they are even today. Now,
what kind of level would they be? I mean, just give us some idea about where the pain starts.
I mean, I think the pain starts around $60 for everybody at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, we do have some very, very ambitious projects in the Arctic. We have some very ambitious projects of actually developing unconventional fields, and we need the investment for that. On a day-to-day basis, yes, it affects us, but at the end of the day, the company produces around well over 4 million barrels a day, and with that kind of income, with that kind of EBITDA, the results are very healthy still.
So the fact that global capital markets are a bit of a no-go zone for you at the moment isn't a problem. So obviously you're generating enough of your own revenue.
Yes.
But what about collaboration and partnerships? Because you've just, for example, just signed one with the Chinese.
Yes, we are very, very involved in major sort of joint ventures. Now, some of the most dramatic ones are with Exxon, which we basically discovered a very large field together in the Kara Sea, which we believe this is the first well, and it is close to around 100 million tons, 700 million barrels on the first well, sweet oil, very, very high quality. Now, obviously, those companies have to take a look at how they're going to work in the Arctic in the future. Now, we leave that obviously to their decision making, but for the time being, we have got joint ventures with Exxon, we have joint ventures with Statoil, we have joint ventures with Eni, we're working on joint ventures with BP, and more recently now, as you saw in the news, with CNPC.
So, where else are we looking to see Rosneft going then?
We still see joint ventures as a very fundamental part of the way we work, so you will see these companies and others actually coming in. We are talking to a whole host of NOCs and IOCs to basically we have the luxury of having almost too many projects to develop, and we need both technology and financial help into those projects. So you'll see us developing several more joint ventures, both offshore and onshore, in the coming sort of months and years.
I mean, you're talking about, and in the presentation that you were doing earlier, talking about true partnerships. Mm-hmm. And I suppose, the idea of China negotiating with Russia,
yes.
That's a couple of very big players who are no pushover. It's hard to negotiate with both sides. How do you develop a true partnership?
True partnerships, this is one day I think we all sort of, a couple of us should actually come together and actually write a book. The true partnerships are about very, very carefully aligning the objectives and vision for a project. If you don't do that, it's like a marriage, people get married and sometimes you take a look at the vision between the two, and frankly their visions are very, very different. That's all very well while they're young, and then very quickly, one might be more ambitious, one might want a car or something, and very quickly they grow apart. So the very, very basic point is to have a very clear vision for what you want in the field. The second part is to actually actively manage a joint venture, to actually have a dialogue running all the time. again, it's quite easy to just let the thing roll, and at the same time, what you're going to end up with is you're going to end up with the two parties growing apart.
But I suppose it must be difficult because of the situation with Ukraine, because of the politics that's got involved. It's much harder because, in a sense, Russia and Rosneft is slightly isolated. Is it that much harder to try and develop this collaboration that you're talking about?
I think at the working level, the collaboration is very much there. And you know, when engineers talk to engineers, it's there. Now, obviously, there will be a potential pressure placed on governments and so on. You know, that's difficult to predict how that works. At the moment, we feel that the work we've done this year has been sufficient. Future years, yes, they could be a little bit difficult, but at the end of the day, you can find ways around this. I mean, and I don't mean in any way sanction busting. Don't get me wrong. I mean, equipment is equipment. At the end of the day, you can actually get it from China. You can get it from the States. You can find, you know, sort of suppliers. So that's the important point. Now, does it make life a bit more difficult for us? Yes, of course it does. But that's, you know, at the end of the day, there are sort of ways, and maybe there are some slight delays, but the vision is still there to actually build up, for example, the Arctic and unconventional sort of fields.
All right, Krzysztof Zielicki, thank you very much indeed for
joining us. Thank you very much.
Rosneft.
Thank you.